Bethesda. You've heard of them before. This is the company best known for publishing hit sports games like NCAA Road to the Final Four, Hockey League Simulator 2, Wayne Gretzky Hockey, and PBA Bowling. Their hard work and dedication inspired me to become an athlete myself.
And welcome back to the Bethesda Classic here in Bethesda, Maryland, sponsored by Bethesda Games. We're here on the 6th hole watching what might be the worst golfer of all time. Paul, what have you seen from Matt here today?
I gotta say, in my 10 years of commentating, this has to be the goofiest outfit I've ever seen on the course. This guy has Game Boy socks on that, well, he has no game.
Yeah, I can definitely see that indicated both by his score and that total lack of confidence on the practice swing. Paul, what does this body language tell you from Matt?
This guy has absolutely no confidence whatsoever. He has no confidence in the way he dresses, in the way he swings, in the way he carries himself. I'm really worried for this shot.
And here's Matt as he, well, it looks like stretches, gets comfortable. Practice swing here, practice swing there. Today, Junior, as he swings and totally goes through the ball. We're here on the Konica Minolta instant replay and goes right through it. I think he blows out his back on that one. That's a big grimace. Paul, that ever happened to you?
Not quite. I'm not as bad as this guy.
And we're here on Matt's second take. That is, I don't know what those claps are for. That is far right, and Matt is off to a bad start on what is already a bad day.
Huh? What do you mean that's not what Bethesda's known for? Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, I got it mixed up. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, these were the scrap lines. Okay, yep, I got it, I know. Bethesda! You've heard of them before. This is the company best known for publishing tie-in games like Home Alone and Where's Waldo. Their astute attention to detail in Home Alone inspired many children around the globe to beat up anyone who dared ruin their childhood. Just look at the traps that you could lie in your opponent's path. How could you not want to go out and stop some home robberies? Some were even so hyped that they decided to beat up the very series that created these monsters. Huh? What? Again? Are you kidding? No. I thought I had it. Okay, but it's clear I didn't. Yeah, okay. One more time. If there's one thing that's very apparent when looking up and down the history of Bethesda, is that they had identity issues. It wasn't until much later in the company's history that they developed a cadence for the first-person titles that we know of now, whether it be open world, stealth, or guns blazing. Before that, it was complicated to say the least. Today, we visit the Dark Age of Bethesda. I said Dark Age, not the darkest day. Let's put it this way. For some time, it was difficult to separate Bethesda Softworks from Bethesda Game Studios. The two practically shared the same name. One of these reasons was because some people just didn't use their head, to say it politely. The other is that anything of note and worth playing came from Bethesda Game Studios. This was the case for the longest time. Back in 2002, when Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind released exclusively to Xbox and PC, it saved Bethesda as a brand. Without it, they wouldn't be in business. But don't take my word for it. Hear what Todd Howard had to say.
Daggerfall did fine, and then we made, we spread ourselves thin. We started doing a lot of games, and they just weren't good enough. And we went into Morrowind. Man, there were six of us at the time, right? The studio had gotten that small, and I was in charge of Morrowind. But by that time, once you get to that point, there was this element of no fear. Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? We could go out of business. Well, let's go all in. This is the game.
So there you go, straight from the horse's mouth. You may have noticed he specified from 1996 when Daggerfall released to around 2000 as a time where the company was really spread thin. And you could see as much looking at their output. Bethesda was throwing their money into as many things, hoping something would work, something would catch on, and in turn, elevate them. They got involved in racing with NIRA, intense import drag racing, and Burnout Championship drag racing. They pumped out Protector on Atari Jaguar. Perhaps most notable is the 2 additional Elder Scrolls games, an Elder Scrolls Legend, Battlespire, and the Elder Scrolls Adventures, Redguard. As we heard Todd say, Daggerfall did just fine. It's no coincidence that amongst everything they were throwing at the wall, that they returned twice to the only thing that somewhat stuck in those recent years. Now we know the rest of the story. Morrowind arrives, money, yay! I'm glad Bethesda's dark days came to a halt for them, as it allowed them to make some of mine and many others' favorite games ever. So while the claim is the Dark Age ends in 2002 from people who definitely know way more than me, I just want to offer up the idea that maybe those bad times rolled on a little bit longer for the consumer. I'm talking like a decade longer. Let me show you what I mean. So we're going to pick things up in 2003, 1 year after Morrowind releases, where things apparently were hunky-dory. Pirates of the Caribbean is the next big thing. And just like every big movie in the early 2000s, you get yourself an average tie-in game. For those who need an easy comparison, maybe you grew up a little bit later, you're younger, think of how Bandai treats any remotely popular anime that earns its own game. It presents well, but then you play it, and most times you walk away feeling a bit emptier inside. Unfortunately, since the games industry is just terrible at tracking any sales data and making it public, we have no idea how many of these games did. You inch in a couple of more months into 2003 and find yourself at a pit stop called IHRA Professional Drag Racing 2004, and I gotta say, well, not doing too hot, it seems. That didn't stop Bethesda from continuing this relationship into 2005, where, holy hell, it got worse. I can't say I blame them. There's things out there that are more exciting than driving on a straight road, you know? Like, yeah, driving on curvy roads out there. Shout out to Need for Speed. Fret not, my fellow gamers. At least we got Breeders' Cup World Thoroughbred Championships. No, this is not me trolling you. This is a real video game. Just listen to how positively enthralling this game is.
Quickly, Gold Boom races into the lead. Off to a slow beginning. Jack's Warrior.
Yeah, you could actually go into a career mode in this game and manage a horse for years. It's unique in the space for sure. Lastly, and one that isn't to be overlooked, is Call of Cthulhu: Dark Corners of the Earth. This was co-published by Bethesda alongside Ubisoft and 2K, a really weird collaboration, and honestly would be a sight to behold nowadays. Developed by Headfirst Productions, this shooter, stealth, horror, adventure hybrid is a hidden gem for sure. It's buried in a plethora of bugs. The Steam version really sucks, but I can see how Bethesda actually saw something in this. With that said, we have a more collective picture of Bethesda's run from 2003 to 2005. Now, I don't know about you, but I struggle to imagine beyond Morrowind that there was major dough being made across a movie tie-in, some really bad racing games, a horse game, and a buggy horror FPS. This is where a lot of the point is driven home that I'm of the mindset Bethesda was heading down this same path again as they were pre-Morrowind, throwing literally anything, and I mean anything, at the wall and hoping something sticks. Luckily again, Bethesda Game Studios arrives in 2006 with another generation-defining RPG in the name Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, and more money flowed into the company. So if I'm Bethesda, here's how I'd be looking at things. Thank you everyone so much for attending today's shareholders meeting. This is just a report of some of the earnings in our last financial quarter. I wanted to keep everyone up to date here. We've made 4 games this year. 75% of them have been absolutely atrocious. This is the route we decided to take because what happens is it brings a lot of attention to the 25%, the one good game that we make. And the idea here is that we put minimal investments in our bad games so that if they do blow up by chance, that we can earn a ton of revenue and have zero worry about screwing ourselves over. Meanwhile, the good games here, what will happen is because everything here is so bad, they'll be drawn to the good games here. And so our earnings are going to be up this quarter because we're actually releasing 3 horrible video games and then 1 from Bethesda Game Studios. So that's what we got going on this quarter. Thank you all so much for attending. Appreciate all of you. And we'll be back next quarter with some more earnings. Right, so everyone at the table says to run it back. In comes IHRA Drag Racing Sportsman Edition and Pirates of the Caribbean: The Legend of Jack Sparrow. And just like they repeated their plans, the results were also roughly the same. Average movie tie-in scores, oh look, our racing game is ass again. And hey, there's Fallout 3 from Bethesda Game Studios, so we good. Has anybody ever paused to think where Bethesda as a whole would be if Bethesda Game Studios wasn't consistently dropping actual bangers? Not just good games, but generation-defining titles. The way I look at it is as long as Bethesda Game Studios kept up their strong output, Bethesda Softworks would have more play money to make more horse games, drag racers, and movie tie-ins. It was there though, in 2009, just shortly after Fallout 3's success, that someone in Bethesda woke up with a most profound thought. Premonition of an up-and-coming YouTuber shredding our published games? No, that can't happen. We need to make a good game. That's right. A good game. I can't believe it, but yes, they did it. After a decade of actual stinkers outside of Bethesda Game Studios, Bethesda Softworks put out what is effectively Devil May Cry with guns. Wet is such a fun game despite its short runtime. You're diving through the air, performing tricks, shooting baddies, and being scored for all of it. It's very arcadey, but I think that's what makes it really click. But rumors passed down from generation to generation suggest that Bethesda wasn't happy with how good Wet was. Hey. Oh, hey, boss. What's going on, man? Was it you? Boss? You good, man? Did you, by chance... Did I do what? Suggest we make a good game? Oh, yeah, I had this premonition and I thought we should make something like Wet, you know, a really good, compelling game and put us in a positive spotlight for once. I don't know, it's just, that kind of goes against our company policy. We're not supposed to be doing this. It's Bethesda Game Studios or nothing. What don't you understand about that? We rely on them. They make us our bread, and then we can do what the fuck we want afterwards. What do you mean it's bad for business? Christ, do I have to spell it out for you, man? I'm not sure I'm exactly following where you're at right now. That's our image. Bad PR is good PR. Do you not understand what's happening? There's 1,000,001 good games out there. No one's talking about them. They're talking about the awful stuff we're doing. We need that to drive more attention to BGS. It's all 4D chess. Follow my lead, stop making good shit, cut it out or you're fired. Whoa, okay. Hey, say no more, it's an easy paycheck for me. Bad stuff it is. I'll just get right back to it. Yep, that's right. Oh yeah. This is where the Dark Age truly sets in for all of us. You thought it was bad covering all of those games, but you've never seen Rogue Warrior.
I'm gonna fuck your mother in the ass, and then I'm gonna chop her fucking head off, okay? Fucking asshole, you little bitch, you suck-ass pig. Eat dirt, you pussy motherfucker, you puss nuts. Eat dirt, you fucking cocksuckers.
I have had the displeasure of playing this game, and let me tell you, it is, without a shadow of a doubt, the worst game I have ever played. It makes Ride to Hell Retribution's fully clothed sex scenes look like the Mona Lisa in comparison. Dare I say, a total goat fuck. This is the piece de resistance of Bethesda's publishing arm. A game so insultingly bad, short, buggy, and borderline unplayable from a control standpoint that change had to eventually be made. No longer could this company helplessly lean on Bethesda Game Studios. While it will never be said by anyone working there, I can imagine without those 3 smash hits in a row from Bethesda as we know it, they would be in the dirt. So, what did they do in response to all of this? Yes, iconic. This is the publishing we want, that we still want to this day. Smart, intelligent partnerships, Bethesda. Ones that make sense and lift up properties people want more of. Still to this day, Fallout New Vegas stands the test of time as one of the best open world RPGs, and very few have come close to it since its release. With this, fans would hope that Bethesda's developer and publisher arms could finally be in sync, banger after banger from both ends. Skyrim was on the horizon, New Vegas was being enjoyed by fans globally, nothing could go wrong, except it did.
Multiple enemies. Friendly fire. Reloading. Enemy spotted. They're taking our command post. Stop them from us.
In a year of Dark Souls, Battlefield 3, Batman Arkham City, and Portal 2, Brink was a complete and total embarrassment. Not on the level of Rogue Warrior.
Fuck your mother, fuck your father, fuck him in the ass, you cocksucker, you fucking asshole.
But it was getting close, paying close attention to the failure their publishing arm was. What was supposed to be a welcome change in the first-person shooting space filled with Call of Duty and Battlefield doing the same thing constantly ended up being a failure on all fronts. The parkour the game highly touted was hardly used. AI was completely broken with teammates never helping you out from combat to objectives in the mission, forcing you to play online with friends but who would actually buy this game. And the story, it's just flat out bad. However, shout out to Brink for doing these hilarious head shapes that we now see in Fortnite. At least they pioneered something. That same year, they also published Hunted: The Demon's Forge, which was a co-op focused game with an archer and a warrior. It was fine, not bad, not good, but fortunately not Brink. Another game published by Bethesda this year was one that received tons of slander for being too similar to Fallout, but over the years developed a following. That game is Rage. And I always found this one to be rad, People hated the ending, and rightfully so. But I thought the focus on vehicles and gadgets made it really endearing. I thought the universe was interesting, it was downright gorgeous thanks to id Tech, which was fresh at that point in time, and honestly, I still suggest people check it out to this day. The car combat was an absolute blast. The reactions when you're shooting enemies, and if you shoot them in the shoulder, they bounce back. It was really responsive for its time, and it holds up really well. So congrats, Bethesda. You, let's see here, 20 games that we've talked about on this list, and you've nailed 3 of them. Okay, these were the true darkest days of Bethesda. Not just leading into 2002, but in my eyes, many, many years beyond it. It was failure after failure after failure, and not up until some type of restructuring happened within the company that they mostly cleaned up their act. Quickly, we got games like Dishonored, Doom, Wolfenstein, The Evil Within, Elder Scrolls Online Tamriel Unlimited from 2012 to 2016. Some of those, like Dishonored and Doom, I thought were absolute Game of the Year contenders. The first Dishonored being one of my favorite games of all time. The first Evil Within being one of my favorite survival horror games of all time. I enjoyed the heck out of it. The first Wolfenstein game blew everyone's socks off. BJ Blazkowicz was actually an interesting, emotional character with the people surrounding him also being worth caring about. I couldn't believe it. Dishonored got a sequel, and rightfully so, as did Wolfenstein. And suddenly, a new problem reared its head, which was the sales charts. They were pumping out great games now at this rate, but they weren't selling as much. That said, this change of quality made Bethesda as a whole much more attractive to the consumer. They still have their strikeouts to this day, like the introduction of Creation Club, Fallout First, and Fallout 76, the monetization of Wolfenstein Youngblood, plus much, much more. And there's no defending any of those moves. Now they're owned by Xbox, with Ghostwire Tokyo, Redfall, and Starfield on the horizon. And I gotta say, with what I think is the Dark Age of Bethesda behind them, it'll be interesting to see how they fare in a brand new era. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed and learned something new here. If you're interested in supporting content like this, then consider supporting the Patreon down in the link in the description down below. This entire project was fueled by your support there. So consider checking it out. Thanks so much. Have a good one. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.